Okay, Chris Speaks back here today with Brandon Mosley for our BCS State of Alabama podcast. We got Democratic gubernatorial hopeful Chig Martin with us today, and we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk a little football. How are you, Chad?
I am doing good, man, and this is going to be a lot of fun today. And thank y'all. I'm always glad to be hooked up with you and Brandon.
So tell me, man, when was the first? How old was you when you first started playing?
I started playing recreational league football in the city of Enterprise, and it used to drive me crazy because I was always bigger than most kids. So that meant I got that red piece of tape on my helmet, which meant I couldn't run the ball or play running back in those days, or receiver. So I was entrenched as a lineman through recreational ball, the worst thing in a kid's life. But
Yeah,
I got stuck with it.
My recreational league had weight limits. So we were like starving ourselves for the 2 days before the game in order to make the weight.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. They'd weigh you, and if you were overweight, they put the red piece of duct tape over the top of your helmet, and you had to wear it the whole game.
No, I mean in our deal, you were disqualified.
Yeah,
You had to go. Like if you were like in sixth grade ball, you'd have to go play like seventh or eighth grade ball.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had a 8 year when I was in the sixth grade team. We actually had an 8-year-old named Chunk who played on our team because he was too heavy to play with the 8, 9, 10, or 11-year-olds.
Back when I was a young man, she'll tell my age here, I was coaching at Pinson on a youth league team, and it was the Unlimited. And we had Trace Smith, who later played tackle at Alabama and the Bengals for 15 years. He was a 9-year-old, and he was so big. He was bigger than anybody on that Unlimited team that he was playing with 13-year-olds at 9.
Now we had Chunk, and he, Chunk weighed, the limit was 105 pounds, and Chunk was right there at the limit.
yeah.
So they wouldn't let him play with the 105 pounders or the 95 pounders or the 85 pounders. His age group were the 85 pounders. But so he's playing with us. And, we used him as a running back, fullback. And, if we needed him a defense, we just told him, Chunk, just play middle linebacker and be in the middle.
I can't tell you my best story from recreational league football. We had a kid, and he's a friend of mine, so I can say this. But his name's Cedric Smith. We graduated high school together, but Cedric got a scholarship to Florida, and you didn't hear about him a lot because he was the full back that blocked for Emmitt Smith, and so he opened the holes up. And Cedric had a pretty decent NFL career, 5 or 6 years, I think. I know he was with the Redskins and the Saints, but till this day, the last I checked, he was, and I can't remember if it's the Texans or the Cowboys, but he's the strength coach there. He's been involved with the NFL since he got out of college in '91. But when we were in recreational league football, like that Andre you were talking about, he was obviously better than anybody out there, even in that age. Well, he played running back, and so I played defensive end. Well, one time they were running the ball and out on a sweep, and somehow or another I grabbed him, truly, I guess, a horse collar nowadays. And when you get somebody in a horse collar, I mean, you've got pretty much control of them. And well, anyway, I grabbed Cedric right here around the shirt and pad, and it wasn't illegal, I guess. And I mean, it wasn't illegal. And well, it just because his momentum and things went in my favor, it slammed him into the ground. And I know you guys have heard what it sounds like when somebody gets the breath knocked out of them.
Yeah.
They go, and I heard that. Well, never in my recreational league career had I seen Cedric cry. It scared him. It scares anybody. Well, anyway, back then, and we actually won the game because Cedric was all messed up from this. Well, our coach, who was a military helicopter pilot at Fort Rucker, just here in town for a couple years, he had a son. His thing was that if we won games, we got to go to the local McDonald's and we could all get one Big Mac a piece. And so we tried like everything. Well, anyway, so after that game, I went with the team to the McDonald's and they were all going, "Oh man, you made Cedric cry." And I started getting the big head about it. And so for the whole summer, I talked about making Cedric cry. Well, we started 7th grade of school, and this is no lie. I got off the school bus. Cedric Smith was waiting at the door for me, and he grabbed me around the neck, and he was crying when he said this. He was so mad. He goes, "You've been telling everybody you made me cry all summer." I said, "No, no, no." I was lying too. I said, "No, I ain't said that now." I said, "I ain't told nobody that." I was scared to death. He told me, he said, "If you say that one more time," he said, "I promise I will beat your butt." He's a good kid. I looked at him. I said, "Brother, I won't never say it again." And I didn't. But anyway, he scared me to death.
What position did you get moved to when you went to high school?
So this is the craziest career of a football player. So when I stopped playing recreational league in the city of Enterprise, they had 2 junior high schools that were 8th and 9th grade, each high school. One was called Old Junior. It was really Enterprise Junior High, but they called it Old Junior. That's where all the farming kids went. So I went to that school. The other school called Dolphin, they were where all the Army kids and richer people in town that lived in nicer neighborhoods, they went to that school. But this is what's so crazy. I went from playing offensive line and recreational to being the starting quarterback in 8th grade at Enterprise Junior High. Then in 9th grade, I was the starting quarterback. And guess how many games we won? 0. I know, man. It was horrible, man. But and so then I went to Enterprise High School in 10th grade. And back in those days, Enterprise was a real powerhouse in the state. And they had a coach that he made the junior high coaches already run the exact offense that the high school was running. Like they had a training program almost. And so I come out of junior high running the exact same offense in high school but anyway, they let me try out at quarterback in 10th grade. And after about 2 days, I was a tight end in high school. So I played tight end all the way. And hey, caught like a 50 or 60-yard touchdown pass against Shades Valley. I know you, yeah. I mean, I was like, like I said, when I got out of high school, I got recruited by a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I got offered by NC State, Chattanooga, Southern Miss, Ole Miss, and that was on the very last day. But what was so bad about me though, I was never one of those guys that was serious enough about it. If I would have been serious about it, matter of fact, I had Mickey Andrews, who coached at Florida State for Bobby Bowden. Mickey is from Ozark, Alabama. So he was the defensive coordinator there at Florida State. They pulled me out of the classroom one day at Enterprise, and while he was passing through town, and Mickey Andrews told me, he said, "Man," he said, "I'm gonna tell you right now," he said, "if you would have given a crap about school and things like that," he said, "I would offer you a scholarship today." But he says, "You just, from what your coaches say, you like to have too much fun." And I mean, I mean, you could, man, if it was the weekend, you could find me at a bonfire with a bunch of, drinking some Pearl Lights,
How much different would it be today if you played in this NIL era where, these guys aren't playing for scholarships, they're actually playing for cash.
I
People make
know.
$90,000 at like UAB or Chattanooga and 6 digits, they're like a starter at Auburn or Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it's a sad state of affairs to me, Brandon, because I've told people, you start liking a team or pulling for a team, and the next year it's gutted. You don't even know who the players are. I mean, it's hard. Alabama's done a fairly good job at retaining players there. I know they've lost some, but yeah, let me just answer that question. I can promise you my sales career would have started before my Electrolux vacuum career if I had a chance to go out and get people to give me money in college. I would have been calling on lawyer's office saying, "Hey, this is Chig Martin. I'm over here at Chattanooga. You want to give me $40?" But yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen in college football right now. What sickens me is we talk about teachers and things not making enough money, and we're doing $50 and $70 million buyouts for people not to work. It's crazy with these coaches.
Yeah, the most successful person I didn't play with him, was I went to high school with him. And football wise was Trace Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Trace, he got the scholarship, I think, to like Arizona. And then there was some sort of NCAA issue. So then he had to transfer to Florida. And so he did there. And then he did like 3 or 4 NFL teams at one point. I think one season he led the the NFL in sacks that season.
Oh yeah, he was a good player.
But he became an agent after his playing days were over with, and he was actually the agent for both James Franklin and the coach at LSU. They both got the buyouts. So I'm like,
Really?
good Lord, Trace just made more money. His 4% there was probably more money than he made as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. I heard it was back when I was wanting to be a coach, but Mickey Andrews and Bobby Johns, who I think went on to coach at Livingston, they were coaching out at Irwin High School. And I forgot who they were fixing to play, but they broke into the locker room and spray painted a bunch of graffiti in there, and F Irwin, all this right here. And they got fired for that.
Hey, I got to tell you a funny story right there. It ain't funny, but Bobby Johns was our defensive coordinator at Chattanooga when I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, man, me and one of my teammates used to play Bobby Johns and this other coach named Greg Aarons, which was a big dude. He was a college offensive lineman, but in really good shape. But we used to play him and Bobby Johns. And I am telling you something, at 50 years old, Bobby Johns, you could not hardly stop him on the basketball court. I mean, unbelievable. And I'll tell you something, that guy was one good coach as a defensive coach. But he went on to he dated the women's basketball coach publicly at Chattanooga. They were both single, and she went on to be the coach at Kentucky and Mississippi State. I believe her name was Sharon Fanning. But yeah, the last I heard, Bobby became the head coach down there at Livingston for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, but yeah, man, but that's wild that you brought his name up. I hadn't heard that in years. Bobby Johns had an award named after him at Alabama, a defensive back award they gave out in the spring. It was called the Bobby Johns Most Improved.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I think one of the things I'd like to see here in the state, and people get mad when I even mention this, but I've never quite understood why we don't kind of make some of these in-state schools as a state play each other here and there, like a Troy going to an Auburn, or a South Alabama at Tuscaloosa, because to me, it just seems like it could be a bigger economic impact than any Louisiana Monroe coming to the state. Seems like it's going to I mean, you put South Alabama and Tuscaloosa, those folks are going to fill up that town.
Yeah, but it seems like they're going in the other direction. You know, next year we go to a 9 SEC game season, so will there only be 3 out of conference?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the conference I played in, I've kind of noticed a trend. We like if you look on Alabama's Auburn schedule, usually the week before they play each other, they play a Southern Conference team like
Yeah.
Mercer or Chattanooga or Western Carolina. And so I think somehow that the Southern Conference has got a niche with the SEC where they fill in before rivalry games. But yeah, but yeah, there's some good things. I don't know if you guys saw where Nebraska just gave an extension to their coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt Rule. Yeah, big
Yeah, so
extension. He's never beat a top 25 team, but you know, he's getting paid like he has.
man, I've only seen Auburn, and I mean I've watched football my whole life. I've only seen Auburn at Jordan Hare like get physically dominated and run over 2 times when I've watched the game. I mean, they've been in tough games always, obviously, in the SEC, but Nebraska and Dave Remington came to town at Auburn, and that's when Nebraska was a machine in college football. And man, they just ran all over Auburn. Well, I mean, they had an offensive line like no other back in the day. And then the only other team I saw do that, y'all remember when Pete Carroll in USC?
Yeah. 23-0,
They,
I think was the score in that game.
man, I'd never seen Auburn just get run over like that. And I thought to myself, how did this West Coast team just come in here deep in the heart of Alabama and but they did.
That team, what we later found out, was getting paid.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what's so bad is stuff, you know, like Jeremy Pruitt, he gets blackballed, run out of football. What he was doing is all legal now.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I
Jeremy
mean,
Pruitt just did it 6 months before you could do it.
I know. I mean,
yeah,
you know, if I was
yeah.
Alabama, I'd be trying to get all my wins back from that Langham and others, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, I know we were talking about Reggie Bush getting the Heisman taken away from him because of all this. You know, they give it back to him now that these
Yeah, I
players can
mean,
get paid.
Reggie Bush got a condo he shouldn't have been getting, and a bunch of money he shouldn't have got. You know, now they get Lamborghinis. You know, I mean, you know, the players. I mean, a player of Reggie Bush's caliber at a school like USC, winning like they were winning then. Oh, there's no
Uh,
telling what he's making. Auburn's got 2 players. You know, Cam Coleman, the wide receiver, is the highest paid. He's making like 1.7 million.
yeah.
Jesus.
And the backup quarterback who's going to transfer out, Deuce Knight, is making 1.2 million.
Good Lord, back up. Jeez.
Yeah, he
He's
didn't. It wasn't even good enough to make the squad, to make the field.
You know
yeah.
how mad I'd be if I was a Texas booster right now with the product they're putting on the field after spending $40 million on that team?
Well, you know, I heard somebody make the comment the other night on some show about how they had watched, y'all may have, I think it was on the internet, about how they had watched some of the high school games with Archie Manning. And I was sitting at home one night and ESPN was showing the high school game that Archie Manning was in. And I did not see what I thought was a star quarterback on the field. Even, I mean,
Yeah, I
he
mean, he
looked
was
like he was,
playing in like some little 1A
yeah,
Christian league, and it's
yeah,
like, okay, he's the star quarterback, but you know, I don't think people you did the proper evaluation there. It's like,
yeah,
yes, his uncles are great. His granddaddy was great.
yeah. I know.
That don't necessarily translate to, another generation. I mean, he's got the best last name you could have, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Ty Simpson.
No,
Not
no, I
this
don't.
No.
year. I mean, it seems, you know, and 6 months ago, that would have seemed like an absurd statement. But yeah, I mean,
From
you
what I hear
know,
about Peyton's kid, Peyton's got a kid that's 14 or 15. I think he's supposed to be the real deal.
but you got to realize those Manning kids go to that Manning passing camp by the time they're
Mhm.
like 11 or 12.
Oh yeah,
So at 13 or 14, they probably look polished, you know, to a level a normal 13, 14-year-old kid is not, just from being at the camp and, you know, being around their uncles and getting all that coaching. That, yeah, I kind of bet Arch Manning would have been cool on my, you know, 105-pound youth team back in the day.
yeah. Hey, I was going to tell y'all, because I just saw this, but that kid you're talking about, Arch Manning's son, he's enrolled now at the Baylor School in Chattanooga, and that's where like Muschamps, it's where like all these affluent Southern coaches, if their kids, if they these coaches that kind of move around, they end up with their kids there at the Baylor School. It is so nice. I mean, I'm not even kidding. It's a beautiful private camp. It's like a college campus. But they were showing
Oh,
pictures
really?
of, yeah, they were showing pictures of him being up at either practice or the game or something this week at Chattanooga.
And you
Yeah, I
know,
hear
again, I mean, this is Arch's first year as a regular starter. So I mean, that light may cut on next year. You know, it's
Yeah.
like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got run out of Ohio State, and he didn't really impress me all that much his first year as a starter down there at LSU. And then heck, he was all world. Yeah.
Listen,
you know, I,
I'm for
go
Pavia
ahead.
for Heisman, by the way.
You know, these stupid little stat nerds, I can't stand them. They're showing these the numbers of Arch and Peyton and Eli, and of course Arch has got better numbers. I'm like, this is not the same game it was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Archie handed off 2 out of the first 3 plays every series. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, back in Archie's day, you know, hey, if it was 3rd and 3, they ran the ball.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I mean, the only time they're throwing is Archie. It's 3rd and 12.
Yeah. I know. Now,
Now I hear
We're
them
sending the
Knox
wide
Kiffin.
receiver out, and the other team knows it, and hopefully you can throw the ball up there where he can get it.
yeah, yeah. Throw it in the general direction and
Yeah,
see
throw
what
it
happens.
20 yards downfield and hope our guy wins the, you know, of course, they had a lot more physical contact running down the field than is allowed today. So
Was it
whoever
Archie that
bugged
had one?
who, you know, got the ball.
Did
Yeah, I
Archie
hear
have one face bar? Am I remembering that
yeah,
right? Or
what?
2 face bars on his helmet. Did he?
I
Did
think
he?
he had 2.
Yeah, it was very little, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it-
You know, they say that Lane Kiffin's son Knox, he's supposed to be the real deal too.
oh shoot, I wouldn't doubt it coming from a father like his. I'm sure he's learned a lot about football by 10 years old.
He said he wasn't going to play for him.
You know, I'll tell you something. A lot of people don't know this, but Ty Simpson's daddy is a genius of an offensive coach. Jason
Hmm.
Simpson up at UT Martin. And yeah, I'm going to say it's been about 8 or 9 years ago. He went down there and to Auburn. And of course, Auburn was heavily favored. And man, he put one of those game plans together where it was 3 and 4 yard passes the whole game. And man, if you ever go back and look at that game, he kept that unmatched team in the game until the end. He just had Auburn so off balance. You know what I mean, with the things he was doing. But Ty Simpson comes from good stock in coaching, is my point.
Well, Chig, did you follow? You're running for governor. Did you follow how involved the Louisiana coach was in getting rid of the coach and the athletic director in the middle of the season down there?
You
I
mean the
think
governor?
that
Yeah, the
I think
governor. I mean, the governor. I mean, governor pulled
Yeah.
like the top boosters and people on the board of governors of LSU into his office. We got to get rid of the football coach. We need to come up with $54 million to do it. It's like, what?
I think it probably just made it one of the most attractive jobs for Lane Kiffin, and I'm being sarcastic. Now you got the governor speaking out, and he's going, "Yeah, I want to go there and get in the middle of all that." You
Yeah,
know?
and then
Yeah.
they got rid of the coach Brian Kelly, and then the governor came out and said the athletic director will not pick the
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
The board of registrars, at the university will. And then somebody's head of the board said, we didn't know anything about that. And then like 2 days later, oh yeah, the athletic director is fired too. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen those headlines. I couldn't believe that.
Do you
I
think,
think
Chig, do you think that's going a little bit too, would Chig, the governor, be firing the Alabama Auburn coach?
uh, only after the Florida State game, but this year, no. No,
Well, you
no.
see,
I will say this. I mean, I will say this because I mean, at the end of the day, like people are saying, that is Louisiana State University. But I I I do not like schools owing these coaches this much money. I don't think it's good for public institutions, man. You're on the hook for $53 million. You know what LSU could do on their campus with, I understand you could be on the hook for $7 to $10 million, and that is a lot. But I mean, unbelievable. I mean, I don't know. I think money. People always say, yeah, players should get paid. And listen, I'm one of those guys that went through it. I always felt like getting a scholarship that paid for my education, for the tuition, for my food, for my room and board. I always felt like that was my payment, an opportunity. And like I said, people back just up to a few years ago, guys didn't transfer, and if guys left the team, they were usually leaving to quit football for good. And now it's and I'll just speak to something else. You guys, I played at a smaller college, Chattanooga, and so one of my friends is the head coach there, which I don't talk to quite enough. I should, but here's the problem: these schools. This is the schools that this is killing. They're getting in there, developing good players, and they get a star player, and bam, they're gone because they have no
yeah,
NIL. I mean, they're cherry picking the best players. You're seeing like the quarterback for Ole Miss from a Division II national championship college team. I mean, they literally select. I don't know if you guys knew that he came from Division II.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
Diego Pavia, at Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
came from what, New Mexico State or something. I think
Mhm.
yeah,
they've only had like 2 10-win seasons in the last 60 years, and one of those was with Diego Pavia as the quarterback.
Yeah. And I think right out of high school, correct me if I'm wrong, he went to some kind of military academy.
Yeah, he went to like New Mexico Military Institute, and he did 2 years there, and then transferred over to New Mexico, and then he sued the NCAA to say that his 2 years at New Mexico Military Institute shouldn't count as against his eligibility. So,
Yeah.
he's a much older dude. He's, like a
Yeah.
second year player in the NFL.
Oh
Patriot.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
one thing that I was listening to that talking about these coaches buyouts, these contracts, that they're going to change how they're structured. And these guys are no longer going to get 12, 13, $14 million in a huge buyout. It's going to be incentive based. They're going to have a base salary and for how many games they win, bowl game, playoff appearance, playoff wins. That's how they're going to get paid.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yes.
making, we're paying coaches like this was a different era. I mean, Nick Saban, when he got paid $10 million, he was probably worth $20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bear Bryant, I don't know that there is an amount that they could have paid Bear where it wasn't worth the money.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Pat Dye, turned Auburn around. As these men that were able to walk into, to a 16-year-old's, 17-year-old kid's living room and convince the kid and his parents, hey, I can make you a better man and maybe give you a football career outside of here. It took a special kind of guy back then to walk into that room, one, sell it, and then two, take the kid to the school for 4 years and actually turn, dozens of them into legitimate SEC starters.
Yeah.
We're now in an era where, hey, Brandon or Chig or Christopher, I can wander into that house and say, hey, we're paying 220,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And if the kid doesn't do what he needs to do, in that freshman year at college, you tell him, dude, I need you to transfer out because I'm gonna go get that, the starting linebacker from UAB who's getting
Yeah.
paid like next to nothing. I'm gonna pay
Yeah.
him $90,000 to do your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
You're
the
right.
Troys and the UABs, and Jacksonville States, those are the ones getting killed because when they get, they've got to scour and get some kid who will go there without getting paid, a significant amount of money, and they develop him. The minute they develop him, those Power Four schools are looking at the tape and say, hey, that kid, I need him in my wide receiver room, or I need him in my linebacker room, not necessarily to be the starter. You can start at UAB and then leave UAB and make $90,000 to be, the fifth wide receiver
Yeah.
or the fourth safety at an Alabama or an Auburn or Ohio State or
Yeah.
Texas. And those programs are getting cannibalized in mass.
Bad. It's killing them, man. It's just they're the ones that have taken the biggest blows of this whole deal so far, in my opinion.
Do you think we're going to come to where we have like just a super league one day, like 50 teams or something, and the rest are like mid majors, and get rid of like the Kentuckys and the schools that can't compete?
Yeah. I will tell you this. I think the Vanderbilt coach has done an amazing job. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I believe he'll be someplace else next year.
Yeah. He is.
But
It
is he
is
going to be
amazing.
able to do the job? We seen Jerry DiNardo, what happened to him when he went from Vanderbilt to LSU, and James Franklin when he went to Penn State. Do you think they'll be able to?
Yeah.
Again, I think anything we learn from 5 years, all of our knowledge from before 4 years ago is garbage. It's a
Yeah.
different sport. Again, it's a free agent style of football where, I mean, you could be a backup on Ohio State today or a starter at Alabama A&M.
Yeah.
You could be playing for Alabama or Auburn next year. We just go to get you through the transfer portal and pay you more money than you will make there.
I think Kurt Signetti kind of might have changed the trend maybe by saying, he's going to end his career at Indiana. And I wonder if that, he's a very well-respected human being and coach in football. And I'm wondering if it's going to make a lot more people say, I'm staying where I am, like Matt Rule. And is that going to be a trend now? Because of, let's face it. If you're Lane Kiffin and you're making 8 million, what's the big difference between that and 10 million? You're rich, man. You can do what you want to do. and he's been making that kind of money
he's
for
built
years.
that program.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that LSU or Florida is better than what he's got right now at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to be a power if he stays there. I mean, they'll get their NIL money worked out. Well, he seems to be smarter than most of them in the NIL. Like how did he end up with a Division II quarterback? I don't even know what that kid gets paid, but I'm sure it's not what a 5-star got paid when he got it
Right.
in. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, that's what I'm saying. The old days where you brought a kid in and you had 3 kids in your quarterback room and you developed all 3 of the kids, and maybe in the second or the third year they would all compete and you would have somebody rise up, and that's how you build teams. That
yeah,
system doesn't exist anymore. Auburn got
yeah.
rid of its entire quarterback room. Every kid that was in there transferred out.
Nobody's found out harder than Dabo Sweeney.
Oh yeah, Dabo has completely not adjusted to any of this.
Yeah.
I mean, Dabo, I think, is a Hall of Fame coach. And I wouldn't hire him when Auburn eventually fires Hugh Freeze. I would not hire Dabo Sweeney because Dabo Sweeney can't coach it, hasn't shown the ability to coach or adapt to this era because it's
Yeah.
a different job. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
literally like, I mean, literally what they're doing now is like we used to do in pickup ball, where every, recess, Brandon's team captain, Christopher's the other team captain, and then we pick who we want on our team.
Yeah.
And that's basically what these college coaches at the money programs are doing.
Oh, yeah.
Is every year it's like I'm picking a whole new team, and I'm just don't, of course, instead of picking, I'm like, hey, I'm paying the most. Here, boom. And
Yeah.
all of these athletes are just going to the highest bidder.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I literally think, yeah, you tell me how many new people and friends what's the kid that went from Georgia to Miami?
Oh,
The
Carson
quarterback.
Oh,
Beck.
Yeah. I mean, I'm being honest. College is supposed to be about, enjoy. Do you think he knows a handful of students at Miami? I'm sure he doesn't, besides the
Oh,
football
do
team.
you actually believe? I mean, obviously he doesn't live, he's a millionaire. He
Yeah.
doesn't live in an athletic dorm. I'm
Yeah.
sure where the digs he's in is a lot nicer than any place we've ever lived or will ever live, unless
Yeah.
Chig gets to be governor, of course.
Yeah.
But and I mean, he probably has whatever vehicle he wants to drive. He has.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has like Miami's probably providing him with 4 tutors that help him with his
Yeah.
classes, which he takes online.
Yeah.
So he doesn't, go and hang out with 18-year-olds in school.
Those
I
days
mean,
are over.
hey, it's like do whatever it takes to stay eligible. And then you're studying film and preparing for the next game. And when you're making 7 digits at it, that's your job. That's
Mhm.
not, I'm doing this for a scholarship to get education. It's like, hey, I make 7 digits. I can come back and get education whenever.
Yeah.
Let's just stay eligible.
Yeah. Yeah. Eligibility is eligibility over education. That's their new saying.
Yeah, I mean, you go get education so you can get a job. These people have jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
They
trying to
have a
figure out what
job
the
that we
family
can't.
dynamic is. Can you imagine you're 18 years old and now you're making like, let's say $240,000 a year? All of a sudden you went from being the kid to the highest paid person probably in your family, maybe
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Directly from kid to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, mom, dad, yeah, I will come out and come in when I feel like it. Here is the money for your mortgage.
Yeah.
Chick, how hard is it, do you think, to coach these kids today when, like Carson Beck, he's making more than Mario Cristobal is?
I don't even, that is such a good question because I think about that all the time. I mean, what you've got to walk such a delicate line. You want to be the coach you are, but then you have to think of like all these reasons we're talking about. I mean, it's like, oh God, I better not rub him the wrong way too much here. I mean, they're having a coach like that instead of, I don't want to. I don't want to lose this guy. So, I mean, it's affecting everything. I think it's a horrible position for college coaches to be in.
I mean, I really think you can sort of do whatever as the coach, because if he doesn't play well, you'll get another one at the end of the year through the
Yeah.
transfer portal.
Yeah.
If I make him mad and he transfer portals out, oh well, I'll just give the money that I save on not having to pay him to somebody else whom I believe will do a better job. I mean, so I kind of think, yeah, and you don't have to worry about developing kids. Used
Yeah.
to, a UAB or a Troy or, Marshall or somebody like that, they would get like undersized offensive linemen.
Yeah.
They have a lot of heart and take
Yeah.
them in the weight room and they build up their body and all this kind of stuff. There's no reason to do that
Yeah.
because he's probably going to transfer out when he doesn't play as a freshman anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
and who's going to let you have 4 years to build up players? It's like, why aren't we winning? It's like the UAB
Yeah.
coach. He had what, 2.5 years and they got rid of him. Goodbye, Troy.
Yeah.
Jay, do you think we're
Yeah.
getting to a point now that coaches are no longer as important as they used to be because you can just go out and buy a team and they're playing such vanilla schemes anyway?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's basic. Well, here's the thing. For the big boys in college football, it's like running an NFL team, but not for the smaller colleges. Listen, I mean, let's face it. I mean, so you get out of the SEC and let's go to the ACC. I'm sure those smaller ACC teams hardly have any NIL. The ones that are not competitive in the conference. I think it doesn't take very long. I mean, you've got the Giants and the SEC and the Big Ten, and that's pretty much it. Those are the
No,
professional football teams.
I think it's actually opposite that because like UAB, UAB had, you know, when a player flashes, they don't have the money to keep him. He's going to go and either be a starter or a backup for an SEC school.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to get a guy to replace him.
Yeah.
And the kid that didn't get any playing time because he wasn't good enough, he's going to blame the coaches and he transfers. Each year there's like a couple thousand players in the transfer portal that don't get picked up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even at the UAB or the Troy level, you try to retain what you want to try to retain, but a bunch of these kids are leaving because a bunch of kids that in their third year it would have clicked. They would have physically been big enough. And, mentally they would have understood the system and what they're doing out there and the speed of the game. They're transferring out. So they never do get that unless it's their third or fourth school they transfer to,
Yeah.
assuming somebody picks them up. So you're constantly bringing in recruits, developing them. The better ones transfer out to a higher money. The worst ones that don't get the playing time immediately, they're transferring out to another school. I should have gone to Marshall instead of UAB because I would have got playing time there. So they're transferring there. So everybody, even the schools that don't have a lot of money to spend, are having to replace their transfer portal losses with the transfer portal. Because there's
Yeah.
always more kids who want a shot than there
Yeah.
are actual spots on even the big schools.
So the
Jig, when
big
you were playing, were they
question,
giving out $100 handshakes?
man, I think I got $6 or $7 was the biggest I ever got there, Chad.
But I mean, UAB, I mean, I think Auburn, they spend $20 million. This is not just football, but all the athletes get 20 million in direct compensation this first year. It's like 20.5. Then I think we spend another, whatever, I think football probably gets 80% of that. And then we spend another 22 million, something like that, in NIL, where the NIL collective or boosters who are allied with the NIL spend 22 million on players. So we're basically spending 42 million on players.
Yeah.
Now, poor UAB, they can't pay the full amount of direct compensation, and their NIL was only $1 million. But I mean, we're still in a bidding war. It's like you go to the cow sale. I mean, they're high dollar cows at the beginning of the sale. They're going to cost $30,000. I can't compete for those. But now you get in the back end of the sale and you're looking at $2,000 cows. Yeah, all of a sudden there's bidders for those $2,000 cows too.
Yeah.
Of course, in my day it was $500 cows, but cow prices are way up now.
Yeah. But so let me ask you guys this. We've not asked, well, who do you predict to be in the national championship game? We're all going to go on record here with our early prediction.
I don't think Alabama has the defense and the running game to compete. They're going to the playoffs. I don't think how far they can advance. Georgia letting Carson Beck go to Miami, I think kind of limits them, although they've got a national championship defense, a national championship running game, and a national championship coach in Kirby. I was predicting Texas before the season. That's obviously not happening.
I think it's just too hard to pick.
I'm kind of thinking Ohio State is the best team in the country. Now,
I think so.
Can they slip up in the playoffs someplace?
Yeah.
I don't think that when you look at these top 12 teams, I don't think that there's anybody that's just that much head and shoulders above anybody else. I think anybody who gets in it could win that thing.
That's because you can't stockpile talent anymore. That's why Nick Saban left. Those guys that you would be in your system for 3 years as backups, and then all of a sudden there's an injury or they just beat out the guy ahead of them. Yeah, those guys left as freshmen, in this current NIL deal for more money.
I think it's going to be Ohio State and Alabama for the top. Is my pick.
Well, I think that's.
And I'll be honest.
That's what I was going to say. Alabama and Ohio State.
I think Ohio State's got the edge.
I mean, I guess if I had to say, I'd say Ohio State beating out Indiana in the national championship game.
Okay.
Of course, now the hard deal about predicting the game is we don't see the bracket.
Oh, I know. That's the big guess. It's just that.
Yeah,
that's
we
what
don't
makes
know. Indiana might be the second game that Ohio State plays.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's like, yeah. But if I'm picking a national championship team, I'm saying it's Ohio State. I'm guessing the other team is Indiana.
Chris,
did you see where? Yeah.
Who do you pick?
I was leaning towards Alabama and Ohio State. But I mean, again, like Brandon said, I've seen, they put several different brackets up last night. I was looking at, Ole Miss, they had a good draw. They had them playing Miami starting off.
And you really can
draw is going to be a major determiner who can get there. I mean, Notre Dame was in there not because they were the second best team, but because they got a really good draw and then edged out Penn State.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see this morning where Ed Orgeron said he's just a phone call away to going back to LSU? He's campaigning for the job.
Who was that?
Ed Orgeron.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they'll do that, but that wouldn't be the worst possible deal they could do.
No, he
I
loves
thought Brian Kelly was a horrible pick.
Yeah, I was sort of when they hired Brian Kelly, it was like, what are y'all doing?
They might get they might get some kind of financial arrangement that works for them with Ed Orgeron. You know, I mean, since they might potentially still owe him money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could get a more friendly deal with Ed Orgeron than, I mean, than they would get by going out there and, trying to high bid for Lane Kiffin or some craziness like that. Again,
Yeah,
I don't know that I want to spend my booster money on coaches. I mean,
yeah,
coaches has always been the end all and be all in college football. I mean, I don't think it requires the greatest coach in the world to go and, outbid teams for talent. The hard thing is selecting the talent I want to bid on. To assemble my 22 all-stars that I'm going to put on the field. I would rather get a coach for like $3 million.
yeah.
And there's a bunch of
Do you
good
think Saban's
coaches that
coming
I
back?
can hire at that rate. Give him a 4-year deal and then spend, $50 million if I've got that to spend on players where I'm
Yeah,
outbidding. I have the quarterback I want, the running back I want, the left guard, right guard, center. Hey, I assembled the people. We're in a free agent world where we pay players and there's no salary cap on this other than what my boosters could come up with. Darn if I want to spend $50 million buying out a former coach, the old coach, and then spend another $20 million to hire Lane Kiffin or somebody. It's like, yeah, give me the money and let me spend it on the player side.
I think some of these head coaches don't even understand the schemes of their offensive and defensive coordinators because they change so quickly nowadays. I think it's what you said. They're just managed. They're just managing it.
Yeah.
They don't even.
I mean, I kind of think you need to almost, this is heresy for a old football fan like me. You almost need to adopt the professional baseball model where the manager calls the plays and, makes the substitutions, but it's the GM who assembles the team. He
Yeah,
has the salary cap and controls the money and goes out and assembles the best roster he can assemble.
yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this. Have you noticed how bad so many teams have offensive line plays? That has to do because have so many offensive linemen each year and these guys aren't playing together 50, 60, 70 games anymore.
Well, it was
Yeah.
like the best player to ever come out of Moody was Chad Slade, offensive lineman, went to Auburn. When he left Auburn, he probably still holds the record for the most games played for an Auburn Tiger. I mean, he had like 65 games or some insane deal. Those guys that, of course, and he was redshirted his first year. When we won the national championship, he was redshirted that year. But he learned from those guys, and then he got in the starting lineup. He was a redshirt freshman. You can't assemble, I mean, even with money, it's hard to assemble an offensive line, one where people will sit as a backup and watch and learn, and two, stay 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, where you get guys that have played together for years and, where the center knows where the left guard is going to be and the right guard without looking. They just move as a unit, which you need on the O line rather than everybody out there. That's why everybody's using the zone blocking scheme, because if they tried to run counter trays and a more sophisticated, offensive line deal, guys would break each other's legs because they would make, that they would be in time. So everybody's out there blocking a zone now.
Yeah. Well, offensive line plays what's killed Dion at Colorado. He hadn't been able to gel that together because of the way they're doing all this back and forth switching around players.
Yeah, you're pulling in
Chig, do you think
7
Saban's coming
offensive
back?
linemen from 7 different places and telling them to figure it out. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Chig, do you think Saban's coming back?
I wouldn't think so. With him being the first college coach to be a billionaire, I don't really know why he would want to put himself through that. I mean, honestly, he seems like he's enjoying what he's doing to me, because he still gets to be involved with the game and talk to all the people. And I just couldn't see him doing it. What about you?
I've always thought if there was anything that might tempt him would be the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's making 8 digits as an analyst. He owns like 10 Mercedes dealerships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm satisfied for a whole lot less than Nick Saban. Either one of those jobs would completely satisfy me 10 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
Or I'd be retired. I would be completely satisfied with the amount of money he has in his retirement plan and his university pension. Like, I'm at the house. Bye. I can't see how. I mean, he just had knee surgery. He's recovering from that. I don't see how what a school could offer him that would be a motivator.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, would LSU love to have him back? Darn right. If he called and wanted the Florida job, would they give it to him? Absolutely.
I
If
think
he
it's
wants the
about money
Auburn
with him. I
job,
think
we
it's
will
about
take him.
winning another championship. I don't think the money's going to entice him.
Yeah. I agree with you on
But
that.
he's won championships before.
Yeah, and they all want another one. I mean, I heard him say one time something about, Coach, you won 7 national championships. He said, yeah, but I could have had 12.
Oh, and by the way, I was going to say it earlier. From what I understand, Steve Spurrier was the first coach to make $1 million in college football.
Was he? Okay. I remember that was the
penny.
big deal that, go hire, give somebody $1 million. That was the magical number, $1 million a year contract.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Wasn't it
Bear
like him,
Bryant
Bobby Bowden,
played,
and Steve?
coached, he was coaching and the athletics director. There were professors on that campus that made more money than he did. It's an entirely different world now.
Yeah. Mm.
I think for a long time it was Spurrier, Bobby Bowden, and Lou Holtz that was making that magical $1 million.
Yeah.
Then Bob Stoops.
When Jackie Sherrill went to Texas A&M, he signed a record like 5-year, $3.2 million contract.
Yeah, I remember that.
Of course, now we drove like $8,000 cars back then too, and a good house was $70,000.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
I was talking to an attorney friend of mine, and they wanted her to like move closer to work, and it's like, yeah, homes in like the Mountain Brook area are selling for like 500,000 on the low end. Yeah, probably not going to be changing houses.
Chick, where do you see football headed to?
I think the younger generation seems to adapt and embrace this better than middle age and beyond. And
Yeah.
I think they can accept this because this is the way their life has turned. This is what their life has turned into, this kind of stuff. And but I think it's losing people going into their golden years of life. I think, I mean, like I said, of everything that's happened, the saddest part is I can't really hardly get behind a team because it'll be a new team next year. And I'm all about players. You know what I mean? I like this guy because he hustles the tackles and this. And then the next year, I'm looking forward to watching him, and he's at Boise State or something, or Oregon or wherever.
Yeah, it's like I was looking forward to seeing how Walker White developed at Auburn, and I was like wanting him to get some starts last year. And then, of course, Walker, he was done with Auburn, and Auburn was done with him. And, he never got to be the starting quarterback. And we paid like $1.2 million for Deuce Knight, which was a 5-star, one of the top, 5 quarterbacks, rated, he probably, unless there's an injury, will never start at Auburn because he's already checked out mentally and he's going to be
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
He'll transfer portal out, and I hope he's successful. But I mean, it's a different sport. It's very different. Used to, when you had blowouts, when we played, Alabama A&M or somebody, the big deal in that was, for those of us who are season ticket holders, we could see those recruits whom we got last year. We would know who they were when they got on the field, and, in the fourth quarter of the blowout game, like, okay, yeah, I really like him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now, now when you're in the fourth quarter blowout game, I mean, it's people who transferred in. Of course, now they got rid of one of the transfer portals. It's people that transfer portaled in from UAB or Marshall, and you're trying to, who is this and where did he come from?
Yeah.
And half of them won't be there next year.
Yeah.
It used to mean something to be an Auburn Tiger or a Georgia Bulldog. That's all gone now.
It is gone. That's what's so
A
sad.
lot of the pageantry.
Yeah. It's so sad, man. Because that's what we all
I
do.
don't know how we're going to do reunions. And, we still have reunions where the old teams come out of the field and we cheer the 2005 team or the 1983 team. It's like in the future, it will be people out there on that field whom you remember at other places because they played for other schools.
Yeah, they'll announce the reunion and go, "We're sorry, linebacker Kane Johnson can't be here. He lives in Montana." And I mean, this guy can't be here because he lives in Minnesota.
No, I mean, it'll be guys that'll be like, damn, I didn't remember him playing for Auburn.
Yeah, somebody asked the other day a good question about Bo Nix. When you see him, do you think of an Auburn Tiger or Oregon Duck?
That's a tough question, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I guess I'd have to say both, but where you finish is what you're kind of supposed. Not in the NFL. You can be
you flip all over the NFL, but it's kind of like college has become now.
Yeah.
It's like, was Bo Nix an Auburn product? Yeah. It's like Alabama and Auburn on draft day. They only claim the people that graduate there.
Yeah.
But like Alabama State and Alabama A&M, they have people drafted. It's like, oh, hey, this was an Alabama State. Yeah, he was there for 1 year, and then he transferred out, did 3 other schools, and now he got drafted from, Memphis or wherever he's at.
Yeah.
And as far as they're concerned, well, he was here a year, so he counts as one of our guys. It's like,
yeah.
I guess that makes sense. We made him what he was. He didn't do much here, but well, Chig, we've had you on for more than an hour.
Yeah, well, good. I enjoyed it, guys. Hey, listen, I enjoy doing anything with you guys, and I appreciate it. I really do, and I'll make sure that we get this out for all my folks to see.
Yeah, give me a little bit, and I'll have it loaded up to YouTube, and I'll tag you in it.
All right, man. Y'all guys have a good day.
Thanks, man. You too.
See you, buddy. All right. Bye-bye.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.